Okay, welcome everybody to the Mr. Pierre Show. We have some guests with us today for a change. I am not speaking to an empty classroom. I have in this very room with me, hey, let me show them to you, however you want to say that. There's my audience. Say hello.
Hello.
All right. So I thought this would be more fun with an audience, so there you have it. There, the fun part. We have in this container right here liquid nitrogen. Our atmosphere is made mostly of nitrogen with some oxygen and a few other things thrown in. So there's nitrogen all around us. But in liquid form, well, this stuff is really fun to play with. Imagine for a moment, if you will, a really, really, really hot day, 100 degrees outside. Then imagine, if you will, this probably the coldest day you've ever experienced. I ran outside one time when the weather was 0 degrees without a jacket to see what it felt like. I didn't stay for long at all. It was really bad. So imagine the difference between a really hot day and an incredibly cold day. Go down that much more again to negative 100. Then go down that same amount again to negative 200. And then that same amount again to negative 300. And then an additional 21 degrees. That is the temperature of the liquid in this container. It's really cold. Cold is a major understatement. It's not too terribly far away from absolute zero, which is right down here someplace. First of all, I want you to get a feel for what in the world liquid nitrogen looks like. Isn't that neat? I love it. Fear not, I'm a professional. Okay, that is what liquid nitrogen looks like. When it's exposed to the oven of this room, it boils immediately, so you see it boiling there. I'm assuming that the camera is able to focus on that. It looks kind of like water, but it seems to, I don't know, there's something different about it. It seems to reflect light a little bit differently. So it sort of looks like water and it sort of doesn't. It's weird.
Huh.
And if I pour it, you can't see the carpet right now, but if I pour it on the carpet, it makes cool sounds. Listen to this. That's cool. And we see a smoke ring, a vapor ring spraying out from ground zero there. It's pretty cool. Too bad you couldn't see that. But if I were to cup my hand and pour the stuff in there and let it sit for a little bit, I would end up in the hospital with severe burns. Well, do you call it a burn? I guess so. Severe burn to my hand. But I don't hesitate to pour it over the back of my hand and shake it off. If it's only there for a few moments, it's quite harmless. I'm not going to take time to explain why that's true. Well, maybe I will. As the little droplets of liquid nitrogen hit my skin, they are at the same time vaporizing, creating a little barrier of vaporized nitrogen around the droplet that protects me from being harmed by it. I've heard that you can swallow as much as a teaspoon of this without serious harm, although you do a lot of serious burping. But the blob that you swallow is surrounded by vapor and protects your innards from freezing. I am not going to try that. I've seen online, and you can check this out on YouTube sometime, I've seen folks put their hand in a clear container of liquid nitrogen and hold it there for a few moments and take it out. Same thing. The heat of your hand vaporizes the nitrogen around your hand, creating a protective barrier of gas around your hand, and so you don't get instantly whatever. I'm going to take a banana for fun and throw it in here. No, not yet, because that takes a lot of nitrogen. Let me first of all show you a typical, well, that's not exactly typical, but a balloon. I would like to use a larger diameter balloon, but I just don't happen to have any. But watch what happens when I put the balloon into the liquid nitrogen. Oh, look, it has a leak in it. No, it does not have a leak. What happens when gas gets very cold? Anybody? When a gas gets cold, anyone know? It condenses.
It stops moving.
Because the molecules are slowing down, and as they slow down, they're taking up less space. So I have just shrunk this balloon down to practically nothing, which I'll show you in a moment, if I can grab one end of it here. So there we have it shrunk down to nothing. Watch what happens when it's exposed once again to the air.
That's cool.
Isn't that nifty? Oh, that was cool.
That's so cool.
And I found that you can do this over and over and over again with no harm to the balloon.
Jeez.
Now one day I accidentally discovered something when I was doing this with a larger balloon. I discovered that in the bottom of the balloon there was some liquid. And I thought, what would that be? It can't be water because at negative 321, I think water would be frozen. So what in the world is this liquid? It suddenly hit me. It's liquid oxygen. I had actually generated, I guess you call it, liquid oxygen. So I thought, is there a way that I can capture some of that so that I and you can see the liquid oxygen up close? Well, yes, there is. Test tube on the bottom here. We're going to shrink this balloon down in liquid nitrogen. The gas is going to condense. The oxygen in the gas is going to liquefy and end up maybe about this much in the bottom of the test tube. It's hard to see, and it's so cold it's going to frost over very quickly, so it's a little hard to see. But it's kind of a pale, pale, pale bluish liquid, something that most folks in their lifetime never get a chance to actually see. The frost that develops on the outside is probably some ice, water vapor, but I suspect that it's mostly dry ice, frozen carbon dioxide from the air as well. And if you could see inside the balloon, which you won't be able to see, you'll sometimes even see little flakes of white material in there, and those little flakes would be carbon dioxide or dry ice. I've also discovered that you cannot liquefy hydrogen, because hydrogen liquefies at a temperature far lower than even nitrogen. So you can't liquefy hydrogen, which would be really fun if you could, but you can't. So we'll see if we can pull this off without popping the balloon and without losing the test tube off the end. Okay, keep going, don't stop. There we go. I don't want to dip my fingers in there, really. Okay, and when I pull it out, we will indeed see a little bit of liquid. I'll try to get it in front of the camera as quickly as I can. There. About a quarter inch or so of liquid down there, and that is oxygen.
Wow, that's cool.
And perhaps real quickly I can show my audience up close a little bit, although it's frosting over now.
Yeah.
It boils away very fast.
Look.
That's boiling oxygen you're seeing there.
Holy cow.
Boiling oxygen. And here for you guys. Okay, so let's see, what else can we do here? So many things. Oh, this is kind of cool. Oh, by the way, this is a side topic. Have you ever done this with a glass? Not all glasses do this. Mr. Goodling tells me that he thinks it requires genuine crystal. I don't know. I bought this at Walmart. But
It's probably not that.
okay, yeah, it takes a moist finger and takes a little prep. Oops, one of my balloons popped. That's all right. I don't care. I don't know how that sounds on the video, but there we go. The reason this, you can make it sing by singing to it. If you can't hear this, but if I go, ooh, get that bitch, ooh, 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 I might not have hit it right. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm being unsuccessful right now, but I've been successful. If you sing to it at that same pitch, you can make it start resonating and you can actually hear it singing back at you. The only reason that has anything to do with liquid nitrogen is because this bowl, which has a nifty lower pitch, the larger the bowl, the lower the pitch, but that has nothing to do with liquid nitrogen either. What I will do now is pour a little bit of it into the bowl, which is kind of fun because it swirls around like little planets around a star. Again, I've never done this on video, so I don't know if you can really see that. But there's so little friction that they just kind of get going and don't want to stop. Little balls of liquid nitrogen going in circles around the bowl. There they go. I hope you can see that on the video. I have no clue, and I'm not going to have a chance to redo this. But there they go. Pretty nifty. Now let's see, what else can we do? Anyone care to guess, audience out there? What do you, audience in here or out there, what do you think is the most common thing that middle schoolers ask me to freeze with liquid nitrogen? Think like a middle schooler. They're sitting there at their desk and they say, freeze my...
Rubber band?
No. They don't have rubber bands, generally
My
speaking.
textbook,
They want me to freeze their pencil.
pencil, okay.
I refuse because freezing a pencil does absolutely nothing except makes it kind of cold. But I have here a shoelace. I'm going to dip the shoelace in my massive quantity of liquid nitrogen here. And I pull it out, and look what happens. Nothing. It does contain liquid nitrogen. It does some cool smoking effects here, but not very exciting. Unless you can say, that's kind of cool. I like that. I don't know if you out there in TV land can see that or not. I have a fairly dark background behind me. But what happens, though, if I take the same shoelace and dip it in water first? Because, yes, as I'm sure you all know, water does indeed freeze.
Ooh.
Welcome, Mr. Leach. He is with us now.
Ooh.
So if I dip the shoelace in water first and now freeze it, notice how the liquid nitrogen doesn't like that at all. That liquid in the shoelace is kind of like super, super, super hot compared to the liquid nitrogen. So if I put it in there, let it cook for a few moments, and now pull it out, and you will definitely see a difference. Pretty cool, huh?
Cool.
A shoelace! They don't make them like this in the stores. It's a little hard to tie that. It doesn't break.
Doesn't break.
It just stays
Yeah.
stiff until it thaws out. Now something that does break, let's try a rubber band.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm gonna say.
In fact, I'm going to try something tricky here. I'm going to double this rubber band over and pre-expand it against its will. Maybe if can I do 3 loops? I want to get this kind of tight. Okay, so I've got 3 loops here, and I'm going to stick my tongs in here, and I'm going to try to pre-expand it. Okay,
Wow.
there, against its will. Okay, now I'm going to dip it in. And let that cook for a few moments. Some materials are rather dramatically affected by liquid nitrogen, some are not. Rubber bands tend to be rather dramatically affected. So now I can break this thing into pieces. It's starting to thaw out already, but
Oh,
there, okay.
oh wow.
It would have snapped a little bit more easily if I had been a little faster, but it thaws out very quickly. It's already back to normal. Didn't take long. This little bouncy ball. Boing, okay. I've discovered something fascinating about bouncing balls in rubber balls in liquid nitrogen. They do something that took me by surprise. I freeze the ball. I need some background music. Thank you. There we go. Okay, now behold. It bounces pretty well, but it has a whole different sound to it. But now watch as it warms up some. As it warms up a little bit, it loses its bounce. Then as it warms up even more, it gets the bounce back again. It's strange that when it's really cold, right out of the oven here, out of the negative oven here, it bounces like a metal ball. Pa-ting! It warms up and then it stops bouncing, and then it warms up more and it goes back to bouncing again. Go figure. Kind
Does
of
that have
cool.
to do with the expansion?
I don't know. I don't know. Yes. Ask the chemist. Yes. Now, what else? What else? What else? Let's do this next. I'm going to adjust the camera for this next little thing here. Actually, I'm going to end up having to hand hold the camera for this because you have to be really, really close to see what I'm about to show you. Hopefully it'll work. Oh, hey, that'd be good. So, yes, why don't you go ahead and release the phone. And just don't hit the stop button because then you'll ruin everything. I am going. What I have here is a superconducting disk. A superconductor becomes a superconductor at very, very low temperatures. Superconductor meaning 0 electrical resistance. I'm going to chill that with liquid nitrogen. I have here a very strong little itty-bitty magnet. I've never known how to pronounce it. Is it neodymium, neodymium, whatever it is. A little tiny strong magnet. Now, I will levitate the magnet going to pour in some liquid nitrogen and super cool the superconductor. It'll take a few moments for that to get down to a suitable temperature. Oh, look at that boil. It's wonderful.
That's beautiful.
Okay, I am now, this might be, let's let it stop bubbling. Once it stops bubbling, I will be picking up the magnet. Okay, we're going to place the magnet on the disc. Yeah, you guys might want to come up closer. And I will be able to levitate the magnet on top of the disc. It's not levitated by far, but you can see by the fact that I'm able to spin it, it's not in contact with that disc. It's floating above the disc. I can put it anywhere. It's not like it's hard to balance. Just no matter where you put it, it'll just do quite fine. Nothing tricky about it. It is levitating. It's called the Meissner effect, if I'm not mistaken. I don't understand it, but it's neat. Just no skill required. Just lay it down there and
So cool.
spin it. Oops, dropped it. Okay, you get the idea. And we'll move on from there. Oh, there's a good spin. Pretty neat, huh? Okay. All right. Next. Oh, water balloon. How long would it take to freeze this balloon in your... Oh, thank you. Yeah, might as well do that because I don't think we have any more close-ups that are necessary. Thank you. A water balloon, little tiny water balloon. How long would it take to freeze that in your freezer? I don't know. Hours, probably.
Couple hours.
Well, let's put it in here, and it's not instantaneous, but we'll let that cook for a little bit here. While that cooks, shall I do the banana?
Yeah.
I brought the banana. I have two choices. I can eat it or I can freeze it.
Freeze it.
Let's go ahead and freeze it.
You gotta freeze
Stick that in there.
Come on.
All right. What else have I not done?
The flowers for.
What have I not done?
What are the flowers for?
Oh yes, the flowers are. Is that a grand finale or a semi-finale? We'll do it now. Let's do the flowers. For the flowers, I need volunteers. This is one of the reasons that I wanted an audience. Because when I do it, it's kind of cool, but it's a lot more fun when someone else does it. We have a volunteer. Now, I ask only one thing. The reason I have the tarp on the floor
Yeah.
is because this gets a bit messy and can stain the carpet. So I want you to try to keep your mess over the table, but we do
Okay.
have protection for the carpet. What I'm going to do is take this genuine rose, that is a real live rose. Can you verify on screen that this is a genuine rose?
It's a genuine
It's
rose.
okay,
Yeah.
we have verification that it's a genuine rose. Okay, we're going to freeze the genuine rose. This is why you don't freeze flowers to preserve them. Now that banana is a little bit in the way. Okay, that should be adequate. And now, notice how lovely it is.
It is lovely.
Grab it and squeeze.
Sad.
Be brave.
Give you
Pretty
this
cool,
tip.
huh? Anything that was in there will do that.
That. I'll make it look pretty.
Oh, it's lovely now. It's a rosebud
bud.
now. Yes. I have 6 roses. Can someone else please? You must experience this. Although that banana is causing trouble. It's bebopping around in there trying to break petals off my roses.
Good job. That's bananas.
That one's cool.
But
Tell you what, I'm going to try to hold the banana off to the side here. That's interesting. When I first put it in there, the petals immediately expand. They don't seem to like being in there. Or I guess the expanding nitrogen causes the petals to flow outward. I've got some petals floating around inside there. Okay, so I will shake it off and then you will simply reach up and grab it and squeeze. Go for it.
oh my gosh.
It's like
Isn't
fine china
It
or
is.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my fingers are numb.
And if you
Yeah.
were to examine
Feel
a
it.
petal after it thaws out, you realize very quickly that they kind of turn to a really nasty mush.
Yeah.
They're yucky. And we have one more person yet to do this. Oh, I didn't mean to put those all the way in.
Yeah, that's gonna be a little cold on your fingers.
Yeah. Actually, I'm surprised it's not,
Oh,
for some weird reason.
The top one wasn't in
My dad.
the, was it?
No, it was not. If it was, I would not have gone in with my fingers.
Get a second pair of thumbs.
Okay, grab.
Oh my gosh, that is so weird.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild. I wish you could all try this, but you can't. In the classroom, we do all try it.
Jeez,
I usually buy a couple dozen roses.
that is crazy.
Okay, let's see. What else have I not done? Let's go ahead and pull out the banana. What I like to do. Oh, I forgot one thing. Let me go into my bag of tricks here. There's one thing. There's something I've always wanted to do. I saw this demonstrated at NIST, and I've tried to duplicate it, and I've never ever been successful. So I gave up trying. But I saw a guy take a rubber nail they had made, and where's my nail? He froze the rubber nail, and then froze a banana, and used the frozen banana to pound the rubber nail into a 2x4. I've always wanted to have on my desk a 2x4 with a piece of rubber stuck in the 2x4, and people would come to me and ask me, how did that piece of rubber get in that 2x4? And I would say, oh, it was simple. I pounded it in with a banana. But, and I can't find my nail. I seem to have my nail is missing, so I can't even do that. So there's not a whole lot of point in freezing the banana, but I already did. But what I've done, I take a real nail, regular nail, and the frozen banana, and I can use the banana like a hammer to put the nail a little bit into the board, but not by much. It's never been a success for me. What went wrong with my rubber nails that I used to try, they would always shatter before they would go into anything. But this is now, used to be a good banana. Whoa, it just broke into a zillion pieces. I guess you in cameraland can see that. And when this thaws out, it is likewise mush. It's just no fun at all. These things are super, super cold. If you want to hold one in your hand for a moment and see what it feels like, but don't squeeze, keep it moving, or you might get frostbite. But they are extraordinarily cold. Colder than dry ice.
Yeah, they're cool.
Here, feel a frozen banana.
Frozen. Jeez. Yeah, very nice.
Okay, what else is there I have not shown you? Oh, here's something I have never tried before, I cannot believe. This balloon, as well as two more on the ceiling up there, this is a very small one. This balloon is full of, well, semi-full of hydrogen. Hydrogen is even lighter than helium. This little guy will indeed, he doesn't float. He's not big enough to go upward. And the other balloons are too big to fit in here. Tell you what, I'm going to try.
If you cut the tip off, it'll float.
Are you serious? You think
Yeah,
so?
because that extra weight keeps it down.
That
Two
might
pair of
do it.
scissors?
That might do it, yes. One moment while we try. You are so good. All right, now it does indeed float. All right, we are now going to take the floating hydrogen balloon and attempt to get it into the container of liquid nitrogen. I have actually never done this. This is a first. Okay, while that cooks for a moment, I'm going to light a match. Now fear not, I'm not going to get really carried away with this. I do not intend to do anything really stupid here.
You will.
I don't intend to do anything really stupid here. The stupid things I do are rarely intended. Okay.
We'll turn the lights off when you're ready.
Okay. That won't be for a few moments yet because first we have to demonstrate something awesomely cool. Awesomely cool. Okay.
You have a dry sense of humor.
All right. This balloon will now definitely not float. But as the hydrogen once again expands in the warm air, it will finally reach a point where it will once again rise. Rise. Please. Rise.
It started. No, it's doing.
It's thinking about
It's
it.
working.
Is it thinking about it?
One.
Come on,
two,
come on. I don't want to do anything to help it because you might accuse me of cheating. There we
There it
go.
goes.
There we go. All right. And it now has gone back to room temperature and once again rises. Pretty cool, huh? And now, just because I had to make my hydrogen, well, I don't make hydrogen, just because I had to get hydrogen to fill that one for that little demonstration, I figured I would just go ahead and ignite it.
Right?
And this is a little one. Cool. This one over here is a big one. And the one beyond it is the biggest one
Yeah.
over here.
You can feel the heat.
You can.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Hey!
Okay, let's see, was there anything else I have not done? Graham crackers. Graham crackers are no fun without an audience. What time is it? I know some of you have to leave in like 1 minute. All right, let me demonstrate with myself first, and then I can take volunteers.
here.
I'm going to take a small piece of graham cracker. I'm going to freeze the graham cracker. I'm then going to pop the graham cracker in my mouth. The graham cracker will be infused with some liquid nitrogen still, and I will start chewing. I don't want the graham cracker to sit in one spot in my mouth because, well, it will cause pain. But I want to keep it moving, and I want to chew fast, and I want to breathe out slowly. And as I do so, fun things happen. Okay, shake it off, pop it in.
No smoking and scroll.
Gene the dragon.
I never do more than one, because when I do more than one, it makes my tongue very numb, and I lose my ability to speak, which is already happening. Do I have a volunteer to do likewise? The trick again is chew kind of rapidly. You don't want it to sit in one spot. Chew rapidly, and students have a tendency to burst out laughing instantly. When you burst out laughing, it's all gone. So you have to just control yourself and try to breathe out very slowly. Try through the nose. That's always kind of cool. You can't see it yourself, but the audience can see it coming out your nose like a dragon. Or try to slowly let it envelop your head. So,
Your head.
and here we will have Mr. Goodling with smoke pouring out of his head.
I'm going to try not to laugh.
Yes. Good nose action there. Nice. Well done. It's over. It's over. How's your mouth feel?
I'm a little numb.
Yeah, doesn't take
Hey,
long.
Paul.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I have a stuffed up nose. I don't think it's gonna work for me as
We'll do it out of your mouth.
well. Okay.
Okay. Just remember to breathe out slowly. The slower you breathe out, the more it's going to envelop. The faster you breathe out, the more it projects.
Okay.
Okay. And all right. Do your thing.
Chew fast.
Again, good nose action. You guys are good with the noses. And you said your nose was stuffed up. This must have cleared it instantly. It's over. Now that you can't talk.
Boy, your tongue, and my tongue is still.
Numb.
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Leach, you want to try?
It's happening.
All right.
Here, want me to tape it?
That's all right. I've done it.
Okay. Tip my tongue.
He's probably done this most of the times.
Oh, I forgot I've got a water balloon in there. The water balloon has been in longer than I wanted it to be because I forgot about it. Water balloons do something neat. If you don't freeze them for too long, I'll explain in just a moment, and then we're done. All right, go for it.
I might just drink soda after.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's good. Blends in nicely with the beard, too. That was good. All right. What's special about water balloons is that you can't fetch them out of here. There. If you don't freeze it for too long, ice is a great insulator. What happens is, the first maybe half inch or so on the outside of the water balloon freezes, leaving a liquid core. Then if you break it open, it's like an egg. You have this frozen thing with a real pretty smooth liquid core to it. Pour out the water, and it's really neat. But this one has frozen so completely, it's split right in half there already. So it has no liquid core anymore. I could peel off the balloon, but man, holding this thing is like, yeah, I would definitely, if I held this for any length of time, I would definitely have frostbite. Getting the balloon off of there is difficult. Yeah, it's cold.
Did it with my fingernails?
But, oh, there, that's interesting. I've now broken it open. Of course, you say, well, what's the big deal? I've seen ice before. Yeah, I know, you've seen ice before. But you've never seen ice frozen that quickly before. But again, I wish it had the liquid core, but I forgot it was in there and didn't take it out soon enough to get a liquid core. And I feel like there was, oh yeah, one last little detail. Let's try something. I have here a cup of fairly warm water. I got it out of the coffee pot thingy bobber. And I'm just going to pour some liquid nitrogen directly into the water. When you do this with a large quantity of water and a large quantity of liquid nitrogen, it's even more dramatic. But here we go. That's pretty.
That's cool.
Liquid nitrogen, when it gets on, like I see some on the table here now, it rolls around in little balls. Mr. Goodling, perhaps you could put the camera on that and let folks see how it acts on the table. This table is so level, it's just kind of staying there for a while. That's nice. Can we? You see it? Okay, over here. Here's some over here.
Here we go.
It rolls around in these neat little balls.
Isn't that like hail?
Like hail?
Here's some.
Yeah.
Well, hail is usually solid.
Yeah.
This is liquid.
Oh.
I'm not sure I would say it's like
But
hail.
there's little pieces on the floor.
That would not be. That would be pieces of ice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This over here is all ice.
Okay.
And yes, ice is like hail.
Yeah, I know that. I got that. I got that, yeah. I know
Now,
that much.
As soon as we turn off the video, I'm going to remember something else I really, really wanted to do, but I don't know what it is, so we're done. Thank you. And hey, this is thanks. This is intended to be the grand finale of the year, so on that note, I say to all of the Chieftain students and all the Covenant Life students, thank you. It's been a very interesting quarter. It's been fun for me. Hope it's been fun for you. Have a great summer. Hope to see you around someplace sometime. Farewell. See you next year.